Ciryl Gane just made Tom Aspinall quit in the main event of UFC 321. Tom Aspinall verbally tapped during a stoppage in action, ruling this fight a no contest. Now, even though this fight is a no contest and Tom Aspinall technically retains his UFC undisputed heavyweight title, which has never been more disputed than it is right now, Francis Ngannou disputes it, Jon Jones disputes it, and now Ciryl Gane disputes it. So we have three people disputing Tom Aspinall's UFC undisputed heavyweight title. I mean, to be honest, even though he holds that title still, Ciryl Gane won this fight via TKO, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like that. A lot of people aren't going to like that. A lot of people are going to say, Joey, what are you talking about? Well, we're going to break down the entire fight in this very video because Tom Aspinall did quit. Tom Aspinall did verbally tap. A lot of people aren't going to want to hear that, but you know, let's actually check something out real quick. Quit. The Webster's Dictionary. To give up. To leave. To depart. What did Tom Aspinall do? He could not continue, so he gave up. He left. He left the cage. He refused to continue fighting. Whether you believe that's warranted or not, we're going to get to that in a little bit. We're going to get to the double eye poke in a second. Also, verbal tap. When a fighter submits in MMA by verbally stating they quit or by a scream of pain, I take Tom Aspinall repeatedly saying to the doctor and referee, I can't see, even though Jason Herzog's like, shut the fuck up, Tom Aspinall. Take some time before you start screaming that because I don't want to have to stop the fight. He still continued to do it, and he did it after 1 minute after the eye poke. But let's break down the fight. I'm going to pull up some images here for you guys to show you really how the fight went down, and then I'm going to give you a synopsis of the first 4.5 minutes before the double eye poke by Ciryl Gane. Here's some good images. Here's a nice jab from Ciryl Gane. Here's a nice right cross. Bloodied up Tom Aspinall badly in the first 30 seconds, which we'll get to in a second. And then we have the eye poke on a bloodied and battered Tom Aspinall. And then we have him holding the rag on his eye, which is actually controversial because this right here is Tom Aspinall's right eye, but the left eye got the worst of the poke. But we'll get to that, okay? We'll get to that. It's a little bit of a gray area, but let's leave it on a nice image. Let's leave it on this image while I break down the fight. So before this entire debacle, which, you know, let's be real, UFC 321 was a massive disappointment. It really was, guys. It really was a massive disappointment. Co-main event was kind of dog shit. Mario versus Umar was incredible. Jalton versus Volkov was an absolute disaster and an embarrassment to the sport. But we're going to do a full card post-fight. Be on the lookout for a full dedicated UFC 321 or UFC 321 post-fight. We'll do a video on every fight on the card. This is really about the main event. This main event was very, very disappointing because it had an anticlimactic ending. And I know people are going to say this is biased. I was disappointed by the ending, 100%. But I got to be honest, I saw all I needed to see. I really did, because in this fight, Ciryl Gane came out within the first 30 seconds, looked super impressive, clipped Tom Aspinall with a nasty left hook, touched up his nose, bloodied up his nose, maybe broke his nose. I'm not sure about that. It was like first 30 seconds, maybe even 20 seconds in. Picture perfect left hook. Gane's being a little bit aggressive, and then he starts backing up a little bit, pumping the jab. Aspinall lands a couple low kicks. And it's really Aspinall lunging in. A couple right hands get close, but Gane's moving out of the way. And Gane is making Aspinall punch, swing, and punch air. Again, he landed a couple low kicks, but it's like I'm watching this fight, and Gane's touching him up. And as you guys know, I've been telling you guys for months, if not damn near a year, that Gane is criminally underrated and Aspinall is criminally overrated. We'll get to that. We're going to get to that. So anyway, Gane's using his footwork. He's pressuring when he needs to. He's backing up when he needs to. He's pumping the jab. Aspinall lands a couple shots. Maybe it was like two hard low kicks. I remember one time Ciryl Gane switched stances, and then Aspinall chopped the leg, and then Gane switched right back after that. But outside of that, maybe like a kick or two to the body, but it seemed like Gane was parrying or blocking most of it, and Gane was touching him up on the feet. And then you get to the ending. We got about 30 seconds left. It's clear Gane is winning. At the 2 minute and 42 second mark, Tom Aspinall is looking up at the clock. Go back if you don't believe me. Tom Aspinall is bloodied, battered, breathing out of his mouth hard, looking up at the clock. Not even a halfway through the first round. And then with 30 seconds to go, Gane throws a head kick that does not land. It's blocked. Tom threw a head kick. By the way, Tom threw a head kick in the first round that partially maybe got through the guard. And also, it seemed like once Gane started getting touched up, he started getting a little bit more desperate. And he was like wading in, throwing like combinations that weren't coming close to landing, and even threw a spinning back kick to the body. But with 30 seconds to go, Gane throws a head kick, pulls out with one of his hands, and double eye pokes Tom Aspinall. Aspinall immediately turns away. There's a break in the action. And to be honest, live, the eye pokes didn't even look that bad. Upon replay, they looked a lot worse. And Aspinall immediately starts telling Jason Herzog, I can't see, within like 1 minute. It's not even 1 minute. He's like, I can't see. Herzog's like, oh, shut up, shut your mouth. I mean, Herzog didn't actually say that, but that's basically what Herzog's saying. He's like, here, put this on your eye, take your time. You have 5 minutes. He brings the doctor in. The doctor looks at him for a second, and he's like, listen, we want to give him time, but just take a look at him real quick. He's going to give you more time. The doctor kind of takes a half-assed look at it, and he's like, I don't have any concerns. We just got to give him time to recover, and, I don't have any concerns about the eye. And Tom proceeds to say, I can't see. I can't see. Even not giving it any real time, Herzog at that point basically walks away with the doctors, and he's like, look, I don't want to ask him any questions. I want to give him time because I don't want to lead down a path. Basically, Herzog was saying, I don't want to give Tom Aspinall that out. I don't want him saying I can't see. I want to give him time to recover rather than him just shrieking out, I can't see, and then having to stop a title fight, of a main event title fight of the pay-per-view. That's what Herzog was saying. Well, eventually, time is up. The referee's like, can you see? Can you not see? Tom Aspinall's like, I can't see. He's literally holding the rag over it. Okay? He's holding the rag over it. We'll actually move it over to that image. Over the right eye, just like that, completely scrunched up on the eye. He says, I can't see. Never even really tries to pull it away or look. And granted, maybe he knows, maybe his eye hurt so bad he couldn't open it. He's saying, I can't see. He's literally holding the rag into it, saying, I cannot see, I cannot see. Never even gave it an opportunity, never even tried at all. And then they call off the fight. Now, what is particularly, I don't know, maybe a bit of a conspiracy about this fight? I don't know. I'm going to give you my opinion in a second. When you look back at the eye poke, his left eye actually got it worse than his right eye, which is the eye that basically caused the stoppage. And a lot of people are saying, like, hold on, what the hell? He got brutally eye poked in the left eye, but he's holding the right eye. Well, what happened is, even though the fingers were over top Tom Aspinall's eyelids, they didn't actually go in the eye. He was poked from the outside over top the eyelids. The initial right eye poke wasn't bad. It was like a grazing shot. But then Gane tried to like push away. And as he pushed away, it was a little bit of a deeper poke than initially you look at for the right eye. So I hope that all makes sense. So there's no doubt about it. There was eye pokes here. The left eye was completely fine. He never had any trouble with it. The right eye apparently was so bad he could not continue. And I do believe there is a chance that Tom Aspinall has a serious eye injury out of this. I got a sneaking suspicion it's not going to be. If he has the detached retina, fair play to him. He should not continue then. But if he does not, this is the worst possible outcome for Tom Aspinall. And the fact that after 14 months, after sitting on the sidelines, not his fault, he got fucked by the UFC. He comes out, gets outclassed by Gane for 4.5 minutes. He's bloodied, he's battered, he's breathing out of his mouth. And then he gets eye poked and says, I can't go. It's a bad look, and especially considering the fact he's saying it long before he's even tried to recover. He's screaming it long before he's even tried to recover. And then maybe this is a delay, but then there's reports Tom Aspinall went to the hospital, and then you have John Anik in DC 5 minutes later, maybe even 15 minutes later, saying, oh, Tom Aspinall's walking by us right now. Now, maybe that was a delay on the broadcast, but very, very odd, okay? But the real problem here is, for Tom Aspinall at least, is Gane was touching him up. Gane was whooping him prior to the stoppage. And I told you guys, going into this fight, Tom Aspinall was one of the most overrated fighters in UFC history, and Gane was being massively overlooked for no reason. And even if you want to say And I think there's a fair case to be made. Aspinall got eye poked. He could not continue. It wasn't worth continuing because then maybe he gets TKO'd and it's even worse for Aspinall. But in my opinion, I saw all I needed to see. I really did. Ciryl Gane was going to win this fight. Ciryl Gane was tagging him on the feet. Aspinall was getting tired. Aspinall's not used to getting out of the first minute, let alone getting out of the first round with a nose bloodied and battered against an elite level kickboxer. Oh, by the way, I forgot. I can't believe I forgot this. Tom Aspinall shot one takedown in the first round, got easily shucked off. Horrible shot, ugly shot. Ciryl Gane was faster, more athletic, stuffed it with ease. So he can't take Gane down. He's getting busted up on the feet. By the way, Gane also landing good oblique kicks as well. Landed a couple good oblique kicks. Pumping that jab, lands that left hook. And then it's like, okay, it looks like you're going to get out of the first round for the first time in ages. You've been going like 60 seconds. He gets eye poked. He's probably thinking, you know what? My eye's a little bit compromised now. I'm getting beat up. I can't breathe because my cardio is dog shit, which I predicted for a long time. Why continue when I can live to fight another day? Because make no mistake about it, the rematch needs to happen. We need to get Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. But I don't want this to be a total shit on Tom Aspinall fest. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I do feel bad for Tom Aspinall a bit. The UFC, make no mistake about it, the UFC and Jon Jones fucked Tom Aspinall. But, and as this tweet actually says, I tweeted out these images here. As this tweet actually says, Aspinall got elevated off of Jon Jones not wanting to fight a no-name, unproven heavyweight who got a free title shot with a win over Marcin Tybura. I know a lot of people are going to be triggered by this. This is true. This is true. Tom Aspinall was elevated off of the fact that Jon Jones had no desire to fight him because the risk versus reward was not worth it for Jon Jones. If he beats Tom Aspinall, it's no different than when he beat Ciryl Gane. Everyone acted like Ciryl Gane was the next big thing, next best thing. He was the new breed of heavyweight. Jones goes out there and beats him in 2 minutes, and everyone acts like that's not a good win. Aspinall has crazy athleticism and knockout power. While I believe personally Jones is far more skilled and would win that fight, there's a chance, man. Jones is getting old. So why take that fight necessarily against a guy with a name that's not that big? You've already cemented your legacy. Now, I believe it should have been relinquished far earlier. The UFC should have not strung Tom Aspinall along. But now you have a Tom Aspinall that returns after a 14-month layoff that's not self-induced. And now the narrative is going to be Tom Aspinall quit. So I do feel bad for him. But at the end of the day, I'm being dead serious. And I know people are going to say it's some type of bias for me that, you know, I don't like Tom Aspinall. I have nothing against Tom Aspinall. I believe that he was criminally overrated. And I thought this fight was a 50-50 fight. I leaned Ciryl Gane the entire lead up of this fight. And then I said, you know what? I don't trust Gane in big moments. He chokes in big moments, so I'm going to pick Aspinall. But if it goes past the round, if it goes past 2 rounds, I think Ciryl Gane is a lock. And in my opinion, the way this fight was looking, I really do believe I saw all I needed to see. Gane was going to win this fight unless he got completely gassed out somehow. But we've seen Gane go 5 rounds many times. We have never seen Tom Aspinall go 5 rounds. I don't think he's ever been to a 4th or 5th round ever in his entire career, ever. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but definitely not in the UFC. And I'm seeing him lunging in, getting slower and slower in the first round, getting busted up, having trouble breathing out of his nose, eating body jabs as well. I'm forgetting half the first round. There was oblique kicks. There was body jabs. There was jabs that was busted up his nose. There was the left hand to the nose that started it all off. Gane was flowing well and dodging a lot of the big shots at Tom Aspinall, and that energy is only going to be sapped. Ciryl Gane has never been KO'd. You know, going into this fight, everyone's just like, well, Ciryl Gane got dropped by Tai Tuivasa. He got dropped by Tai Tuivasa. I mean, what does that really mean? That was years ago. And what happened to Tai Tuivasa after that? He got his ass whooped. And he was getting dog walked before that. So I really think this is a cautionary tale where people were really overhyping Tom Aspinall. And he really wasn't that good. The heavyweight division is dog shit. So Tom Aspinall is one of the best heavyweights in the world. But when you got Volkov, you got bums like Jalton Almeida. You got Chris Barnett. You got Hamdi Abdelwahab. You got guys like that. You got Marcin Tybura. When a division looks like that, it's not hard to be one of the best in the heavyweight division. But Tom was almost elevated by the fan base to this GOAT-like status, this God-like status, solely because Jones wasn't keen on fighting him. He's 1-1 with Curtis Blades. And in that fight, what happened? Got a little bit hard, suffered a little bit of an injury, and could not continue. Just shelled up, curled up, went like this, and could not continue. Did not try to fight. I'm not saying he definitely should have tried to fight with this eye poke, but it wasn't a good look, man. Immediately telling the ref, I can't see, is what really did it for me. If Tom would have looked like he was going to continue, he's wiping out his eye, he's trying to blink it out, he can't maybe open it a little bit, and then after 4.5 minutes, he's like, fuck, I can't see. I would have been able to accept that. But the fact immediately he's telling the ref, I cannot see. And then the second he gets that rag, he's just covered. I'll put that back on the screen. He just got it pressed in there. Never even trying to continue. It really was a horrible look, and it was a disaster for Tom Aspinall. And this entire fight week was a disaster for Tom Aspinall. I say a bit of this satirically for those of you who don't know, but some of this, there's mixed in truth here. Tom Aspinall has no personality. He has no IG followers. He walked out to an empty arena. He's talking about ducking top 10 contenders because they're friends. His dad's talking about him leaving for boxing. His entire quote unquote aura is built off Jon Jones and Jon Jones not wanting to fight him. And then he gets outclassed for 4.5 rounds and then quits after an eye poke. It's really not a good look at all for Tom Aspinall. And I do feel bad for him. And I think they'll book this rematch. Ciryl Gane will win this rematch. Tom Aspinall has a minute, maybe 2 minutes to land a big shot. He may be able to do that. Maybe he gets it done. Maybe he KOs Ciryl Gane in the first minute or two of a rematch. I don't think Tom Aspinall is going to be coming in with a lot of confidence going into the rematch, considering how badly he got busted up in this fight. And also, if he suffered an eye injury, who knows how long he's going to be out? Is he going to be out again for a long time? And one thing I do want to cover, okay, because there's some people who have used this and said, Joey, how is this any different than Leon Bilal? They think they got me. I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe the MMA fan base is this dumb, but I'll break it down. There's some people like, Joey, you said we didn't know what would have happened in Bilal Leon because of the eye poke and this and that. Leon landed one fucking head kick in the first round on a short notice Bilal against a short notice Bilal 4 years prior to the rematch. I'm talking from rematch to the original fight. Maybe 3 years. I don't even remember at this point. And then the eye poke happened and the fight got stopped. Outside of that head kick, it was really 50-50. It was really 50-50. Tom Aspinall does not have cardio. Bilal's known for his cardio. Even at that point, was known for his cardio. And then you fast forward years later where Bilal's gotten better. It's massively different. It's massively different. Tom Aspinall starts fast. He gets quick finishes. If he doesn't, we don't know. Tom Aspinall was the real Hamzat. Everyone in the Hamzat DDP fight was like, Hamzat early, DDP late. Hamzat early, DDP late. It was Tom Aspinall earlier, Gane late, but Gane whooped his ass early too. Because Aspinall, he has to find that big shot. He lunges in. His kickboxing isn't that good. His chin's up in the air. Look at his chin right here. I tried to tell you guys. His chin is up in the air constantly. Even in the highlights when they're showing the Pavlovich fight and he's like leaning back, it looks like shit. It looks like his chin is there to be had. And Ciryl Gane was a pro kickboxer for a while. Or was it Muay Thai? It was kickboxing. Ciryl Gane, right? I'm pretty sure. Ciryl Gane had like a bunch of pro kickboxing bouts. And Tom Aspinall just lunges in with big power shots. All Ciryl Gane has to do is avoid the big shots of Aspinall early, drag him into deep waters, and whoop his ass. Ciryl Gane beat him up in the first round. How do you think the rest of that fight was going to go? Could Aspinall have found a KO shot? Sure. But the longer the fight went, and I said this and I'm consistent, the longer the fight went, the more it favored Ciryl Gane. And I'll tell you, after seeing this fight, I favor Ciryl Gane even more. Because Tom Aspinall, I always say this, you can't elevate a guy off a loss. Tom Aspinall was elevated simply off Jon Jones haters. And I hate to say it, but it's true. That is the honest to God reality of the MMA community. The MMA community desperately elevated Tom Aspinall because they hated Jon Jones so much they wanted him to lose. And Jon Jones not wanting to fight Tom Aspinall because of risk versus reward They wanted it to tarnish Jon Jones's legacy to the point they elevated Tom to a godlike figure. Well, guess what? When he stepped in there against the toughest test of his career, Ciryl Gane, Gane touched him up with ease. Had him breathing out of his mouth, had him looking up at the clock with 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the first round. How do you think 5 rounds was going to go? I don't think it was going to go too well for Tom Aspinall. So I hope the eye is fine. I hope there's no serious injury. I hope there's not a detached retina. Maybe there will be. Even so, if that completely dismisses, well, Tom Aspinall, there's no way he could have continued. I think he could have continued. I think the ref would have let him continue. Dana's actually pissed at Tom Aspinall, by the way, which got even worse. I mean, no pay-per-view sales as well on this. No Instagram followers, no personality, the crowd wasn't even into this fight. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. You guys get the point. It's a bit satirical there. But now Dana's even pissed at Tom. I can't tell you if he could have continued. He was talking about Tom like he talked about Arman when Arman pulled out with that back injury against Islam earlier this year. Dana has already committed to running the rematch. I believe that Gane will win the rematch. I believe that Tom was massively overrated, maybe bought into his own hype, and maybe underestimated Ciryl Gane a bit. People forget that Ciryl Gane only lost to Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones. I mean, that's a crazy 2 losses to have on your resume. So I think Tom, maybe this is a blessing in disguise, because maybe Tom shores up some holes, but man, the shot looked ugly when he's most explosive in the first round. Couldn't get Ciryl Gane down, was getting tagged on the feet, was walking in the jabs, got his nose bloodied and battered, all in the first round. That's Tom Aspinall's best round. So I don't even think there's any comparison to a Bilal Muhammad, Leon Edwards 1 and 2. It just makes absolutely no sense. So hopefully they rebook this soon. I favor Ciryl Gane in the rematch. I told you guys. I told you. Tom Aspinall was criminally overrated. This isn't a full victory lap. Make no mistake about it. This isn't a full victory lap. But this was a W. Everyone that laughed at me when I said Tom was overrated, because look who he's beaten. Curtis Blades, scrub. Marcin Tybura, scrub. The best win is Pavlovich. Pavlovich lost to Volkov, who's a scrub too. Look at his performance against Jalton Almeida. And that's not Tom's fault. Tom is still one of the best heavyweights in the world. But we got to stop elevating these guys like they're the next big thing. Michael Bisping fought with one eye. Shara Bullet fights with one eye. Tom Aspinall, after sitting out for 14 months, quit after getting his nose battered in the first round. So that pretty much sums up the main event of UFC 321. Please do me a favor. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.